As we go through the agenda, there will be another chance to address those things. If there's something that is not on the agenda you wish to deal with, please step forward, step to the podium, give your name and address for the minutes.
Come on, let's step to the podium.
No, you can stay there, Bill, we can hear
I
you.
guarantee you can hear me.
We can hear you, Bill.
All right. 4 weeks ago, I appeared before the council with a question and a few comments pointing in the direction of the council concerning that crossover road on County Road 3, an extension of Airport Road. But that was 4 weeks ago. And now I'd like to hear the report of the council that investigated that and what they're recommending.
MnDOT doesn't move that fast, Bill. MnDOT doesn't move that
That's
fast.
not unusual for this council.
Mr. Fritz, I can tell you that I've talked with my staff about trying to find all the research we can about that, and I haven't come up with a whole lot, to be honest with you. I know that I've talked in the past with the city of Blaine, and I can do that again. It just hasn't gotten much further than trying to do some research. I'm sorry.
We'll get back to you as soon as we can, Bill. You do understand that that has been moved, that road was moved to the north. It is now in Anoka County. When it was dealt with the first time around, it was in Ramsey County, so we kind of a little different ball game going here. So it's not just this city that has to act, there are other jurisdictions as well. Blaine, the MnDOT, counties.
Well, you're wasting your time if you go to Blaine. You're wasting your time. Might as well give him something useful to do.
Now, Bill, don't get me in trouble. I get myself in enough trouble.
You're getting in more.
Okay.
But we got lots of it to go around.
Okay. We'll get back to you as soon as we can, Bill. Are there any other citizens' comments, requests? David?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I just want to let this council know the impact that, from myself, the impact that Julie's had on this village and all the good things she's done for this village is going to be really missed, especially by my family, because I have a lot of grandchildren in these schools. So I just wanted to say that tonight. Thanks, Julie.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Johnson. Appreciate it.
Any other comments? Mr. Linke? Are there any other citizens' requests and comments from the floor? Mr. Obert?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, this is kind of a sad day in my time in the city. Soon Julie will be leaving us. Julie's become a very good friend of mine, and we've really allied a lot of issues in the city. And I think back of when I first got involved in the city in the early 90s, and with I used to watch these council meetings on cable, and I stopped by once in a while, not too often. And when I first was getting involved, I'm thinking, why is this woman always talking about crosswalks and playgrounds and school crossings and all that stuff? I'm thinking, God, is this a one-track person or what? But that's what I focused in on, because she was always the main voice for those type of issues. And then we got the Mounds View 2000 thing going, and I find out that Julie does have a lot of things that she's very well learned in, and she's interested in, and she takes a lot of stock in. But I think over the 4 years that she's been here, she's been a strong voice, I think, for the younger citizens of our community, the young families, the children, the young parents who are looking for a little support at City Hall, some compassion, some caring. And that's what I think we're really going to miss. When Julie leaves, she's emotional. She gets involved in these issues that are really focused in on the young families and children and their well-being. And she's been so interested in developing this core in Mounds View that's going to grow into the future and take this city into the future. And there's a couple of previous spokesmen have said, or spokespersons have said this evening, there's going to be a huge void left here. A huge void that I think everybody in the community is going to feel. And I think hopefully we can somehow rally around and keep what was important to Julie going, because what was important to Julie, as it turns out, is very important to the future of the city. Because that's, I think, everything that Julie did while on the council and all the commissions and task forces, everything, always focused on young people, Nausea in the future, taking Nausea in the future. So thank you, Julie. Being a parent of 2 small kids, we certainly have appreciated, my wife and I, have appreciated your efforts in the city council. And we certainly look forward to a continuing relationship with you and Tim. So, thank you.
Thank you, Cam.
Thank you, Ken. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak? Anyone else who has comments or requests for the council? Very well, at this time, we'll move on the agenda. Brings us to item number 10, which has been withdrawn.
Dwayne, I make one quick comment on that theater, Dave Janke from East. On that theater project, what the people really thought, the bottom line is what the people thought was the theater project was done. Then all of a sudden it came up that there's a lot involved across the street for a trade. They thought that project was done. Everything was final. I mean, to make it very simple and the agreements and what you have to talk with is the people thought the project was done, voted on to go forward, and all of a sudden it pops up, we're gonna trade a piece of land. And that's as simple as it is. You know, that's what they thought. You know, and I know your concerns and the
Yeah,
other
but
things,
what-
but that's what they thought.
Would you do me a favor? And I really get a little frustrated in that. I don't know where these ideas come from. The statement you just made that we're gonna trade some big chunk of City Hall land for something over there, would you bring me the document that has been adopted for this council that, when they did that? Would you bring that so I can see that, please?
There's no document. What it came up is just the discussion of doing that.
Well, you don't want us to even discuss it. You don't want us to discuss anything?
Right, but no, like I said, I'm just telling you what the people thought. It's, I mean, I'm not,
Well-
saying that you discussed it. What they thought was the project done, and then all of a sudden, to connect with that project, they were gonna give up the playgrounds over here or something. There was a discussion started on that.
I
Not
know.
to say you made an agreement or anything else,
And that's an important, critical point.
right?
We made no agreement.
Right,
We
exactly.
made no agreement.
Yep.
What the committee, and the committee was made up of myself, Councilmember Koopminer, we had some people from the EDC, we had staff, we had the community development director, and we hit upon the idea of the ring road concept because I myself was never satisfied that we had done as much as we could possibly do in trying to mitigate the off-site impact of traffic from that theater. They were proposing that the traffic would exit onto Highway 10, and understanding now that we have no light, no stoplight or anything, and that they would cross over oncoming traffic, make a U-turn down at H2, and to go back west. My very carefully considered concern, was that that wouldn't happen to the degree that we perhaps thought it might. It made more sense to me that if I were in that situation coming out of that theater and I wanted to go west, I'd make a right-hand turn right around the end of Donatelli's, and I'd go back H2, the Long Lake Road in north, or across Mounds View Drive, or whatever. But it didn't seem to me that we had the ultimate or the most optimum situation. And there were a lot of other people felt the same way. And the question was asked, what can we do to further enhance a better situation from the traffic controls on the O'Neill property? At the time, the university design team that was being funded by the, where'd you go, Chuck? McKnight Foundation. McKnight Foundation. He was in the play, he's not interested in the movie. Funded by the McKnight Foundation, our community development director found out that we had an opportunity to bring in some professional design teams with national known folks such as Walter Kulash and so forth. And we could perhaps take another look at it and find a better way if possible. Could we do that? I don't know, but I wanted to try, and I think the committee did. Did we have something specific in hand? No, we did not. We were working with the developer trying to find something. He said, okay, if we're going to find something here, then I want an exclusive negotiating agreement, so whatever idea or whatever final element I come up with, I'm not dealt out in the cold by some unforeseen circumstance. Now, the problem with all of it, I think, happened when we got a little schematic that was drawn not necessarily to scale, and it looked much worse, I think, than what the actual situation was. Let me put it to you this way. Let me ask you the question. Do you think there is anybody on this city council that would give away the parking lot in front of City Hall plus half of the open space in front of City Hall? You really believe that?
I'll answer. No, I don't.
Okay.
But what I
I rest
wonder,
my case.
why was the planning commission not involved like they should be in the project? And that's where the people think, well, why?
We had no project, Dave. We had nothing to offer to them. The planning commission, and Mr. Obert is sitting right down in front here, if you don't think they haven't got enough to do, you go sit with him sometime.
No, that was what they need to understand, I think, is that was simply a proposal that was cast out there by this design team from the university. And the timing
Well, come up to the
was-
microphone, would you, Cam?
And as I understand it, the timing was, it just happened to hit at the time when council went through the O'Neill property, the PUD proposal, et cetera. And then this thing came along from the University of Minnesota. It was really, and I don't think it's gone beyond just an idea, is it? I think that's all it
That's all it
really
is.
was. It's, I mean, there's
That's an
nothing.
idea.
I know the way we left it with the Anthony Properties is, even through council, was we will help the city, will help the developer deal with MnDOT as far as eventually getting a light. And I'm not sure that, I mean, there wasn't anything in writing about realigning Edgewood or anything. It was just, at the time, it was just we will help them get a light, because we all understand that having a traffic light there obviously is gonna help the whole situation, not just the developers, but the city and the access to and from Edgewood. So at that time, I mean, it really is, it's just an idea that's out there. It's just an idea. And then because of the way the configuration of the ring road, certainly more than courtesy, I guess, was extended to Anthony Properties to say, look, here's something that these designers at our university have come up with. What do you think of it? And that's as far as it's really gone.
What
No.
was voted on then? What was voted on?
Nothing was voted on.
No.
Well, it was a split vote. What was that?
The split vote came when the council was asked to offer the proposer an exclusive development agreement, which means that if he comes up with an idea or some grand scheme, that someone else, it's like a patent, you might say, someone else might be able to grab and run with. He didn't want to put all of that effort and cost and so forth into the program, if you will, and then have it swiped out from under him. And the city said, well, that's fine. If you want to pay for our staff time, we'll still proceed. And he offered, I believe it was $5,000. It was only to pursue some options and pursue a dream, if you will. Now, if I may editorialize, and this is always dangerous for anybody in public office to do, but I want you to understand that I understand your concerns, because let's face it, government is not at its highest ebb in terms of public esteem. Okay? And these things are perfectly natural. I understand why people get upset. I understand why they get concerned. They think that just because it's voiced, it's a done deal, and we're out to turn that view around as best we can.
Thank you.
And I don't know what else I can say.
Oh, thank you then.
Okay?
Mr. Mayor, may I make a point of clarification? That I'm one of the ones that voted against that exclusive negotiation agreement. The information that came to the council members specifically talked about swapping the city land over there with this developer, and to make that as a part of the exclusive negotiations contract. And that's one of the reasons I voted against it. I believe that city land, it doesn't belong to the staff, doesn't belong to the council, it belongs to the residents out there. And I believe before we enter into anything about swapping land, we want to get their input in first. And so I just want to make a point of clarification. The words were swap the land there with this developer.
Well, I think where that falls a little short, with all due respect, is the very simple fact that there isn't anybody that's going to give away the parking lot in front of City Hall. That's ridiculous. But it's not ridiculous to throw it in the mix and have it as a consideration, a trading point. I don't think there's anybody here that would do that. If the developer asks for it, that's fine, let him ask. Will he get it? If I were a betting person, I'll bet you there wouldn't be one vote in this council that would give up the parking lot in front of City Hall. But there may have been something in the entire exercise that would have brought something else up. I don't know. We'll never know that now, or at least at this point we won't. Jerry, you had something to say, then I want to move on. We have some other
The only thing
things to
I got
go.
a question is that, did the council buy into the ring road process?
There was nothing,
Okay, so, in other words, what I'm saying is that the ring road item went before a committee of 2 of the council members plus some others. The entire council never, as I can understand, never bought into this. Or, I shouldn't say buy into it, was never.
there was nothing to buy into, Jerry.
Okay, but, I mean, they were asked to negotiate. You talk about the parking lot. I agree with, the parking lot wouldn't go away. What concerns me is the soccer field. That was part of the negotiation. Or the deals that I read.
No negotiations.
Well, now there's not. This is true.
There would not have.
Oh, but if you enter into negotiations, my guess, or offer a chance for negotiation, there's going to be some negotiations. They're not just going to say, well, here's your opportunity to negotiate, but we're not going to do it. It doesn't make sense. I mean, if that's the case, I mean, there's no reason why the conversation can't happen now.
Would you quickly make your point, Jerry? We need to move on.
All I want to do is make sure, I just want to
Okay.
find out if the council
Okay.
had an opportunity to talk and vote on the ring road process, and I found out they hadn't. Thank you.
Jerry, I'm going to ask you then, I mean, I remember I invited you down to the meeting when we first talked about the ring road concept, and you were as enthusiastic about that concept as everybody else. What changed your mind?
I honestly didn't have, when you say enthusiastic, I will disagree with that because I know nothing about it. I haven't had an opportunity to look at it.
Jerry, I asked you how you felt.
Time.
I asked you how you felt right out in the hallway. You said it looks great.
It is possible, from what I saw for a few minutes, I could say, yeah, anything looks great at the first blush, but like I said, I did not get an opportunity to hear what the whole thing was. I did not see anything in there that said that we're going to lose a soccer field. There's nothing there that shows that,
That was never agreed.
but neither was the ring road.
All of the issues were thrown on the table. They were getting ready to be mixed up and negotiated out to see if there was some way that we could positively affect the traffic impact from the O'Neill property. It's as simple as that. Thank you very much. Is there anything else further to come before the council? I would just say this, if I may have, oh, I'm sorry, I have reports coming from the clerk administrator.
I have 3 things I'd like to touch on. One, just to thank Julie for her time on the council. I know that being in public administration obviously is not an easy chore, an easy task. It can be a chore. It's not always something that's enjoyable, but I think people tend to get into it because they see a higher reason for being involved in their community, no matter what the issue is, no matter what positions are taken. The community is still a community, and for people to step forward like yourself, I have to commend you. The next thing I'd like to add is just for the general notice to the community that the filing for the election starts tomorrow, and that's August 26th for people watching on tape, and goes to September 9th here at City Hall. If you're interested in filing for candidacy, you can come up to City Hall during normal working hours, 8 to 4:30, Monday through Friday. However, next Monday, September 1st is Labor Day, so we're not open that day. But if you have any questions, give us a call at 717-4001, and we will do what we can to help you. Third thing is having kind of been in the middle of the discussion, I don't normally like to address issues that tend to appear at least to be either dividing the council or dividing the community, but I am a little concerned about the discussion regarding not only the ring road, but the Anthony Properties discussion. Just want to add from staff standpoint that one of the reasons that staff may want an exclusive negotiating agreement is to protect staff in terms of discussing with potential developers just what they might have because of the very issues that have been brought to the discussion here today. I said it back on the meeting of July 28th, that former Mayor Linke addressed the council that from staff standpoint, we're going to look at anything that we don't consider to be of interest or in the interest of the community. And I am concerned that discussion cannot take place, and staff is not sure what discussion it should facilitate versus discussion it should not facilitate. I'm not going to cite specifics, but several statements have been made here that are just simply not accurate, either about staff's involvement, council's involvement, or commitments to any kind of a concept. Frankly, it's no different than any other idea that comes into City Hall. And I don't want to sound like I'm up here chastising anybody, but this is just part of the job. And I think one of the things that we have not done well is be able to get on top of it and get to the community and let the community understand what we're dealing with. And I would suggest that if there is interest in this, and right now, from a staff perspective, I'm looking at a 2-2 decision on the past negotiating agreement, that we step back from the entire process, and perhaps have some sort of a community meeting. I haven't discussed this with anybody, I just thought of it while we're sitting here. Some sort of a community meeting to actually go over what took place over the last 4 or 5 months.
Be a fine president for the state of Minnesota City, so I think it's an honor for Mountie to have.
And that's as short as the thank you speeches I've ever made in my life, so.
Scott.
Is that, are there any reports from staff? Before I close this meeting, I want to say, Julie, you were a formidable opponent at the last election.
I said the same about you.
You are certainly an accomplished debater on the issues, but the one thing that I've appreciated the most, whether we agreed or not, was your heart for this community. And don't ever apologize for those tears. They're for all of the right things.
Thank you.
Entertain a motion to adjourn.